Hello, I'm Ann Hanks with Keller Williams Realty, and we are here in Duck Soup, located at Mill Village in Sudbury. And I'm here with Louise Mawhinney and her son Frank Wave. And we are here to learn more about Duck Soup and how Louise came to own this shop and ask her some questions about it. So Louise, first, tell me, so you took over this shop from another shop owner. How did that come about?
Well, I never intended it to happen. It was the craziest thing. I was just a customer here, and I got to know the owners very well. They were retiring, and they tried to find somebody to buy Duck Soup, but they couldn't. So I kind of fit of emotion. I didn't want it to close down, and I said, well, let me see if I can help. And I ended up here 6 years ago, and it's been phenomenal. And the best thing about it is the community spirit. So many people were so glad that it stayed open, and because they love it. And that's really the story of how I ended up here, and I'm having a blast.
Oh, that's fantastic. So originally it was just a little kitchen shop and gourmet shop, and you've since expanded. Tell us more about that.
Well, what I did was, the first thing I did was, I had the opportunity to add a liquor license, which I thought would go really well with the wines, not with the wines, of course, with the cheeses that we sell. So Duck Soup is known primarily for its coffees and its cheeses and its candy. So by adding the liquor license, we expanded that. The other thing that we did was, the landlord told me that the space next door was available, and I had to make up my mind, or he'd have to advertise it. And so, a little faster than I would have wanted, I had to decide about doubling the size of Duck Soup. And we decided to put in a beautiful space for cooking classes, which of course right now we can't do, but we will again. Anyway, those were the two things that I did that were different, but actually, even the cooking classes had been done prior in Duck Soup with fold-down tables before I took it over. So there's very little that I've done. We did buy a baking line, the Kif line here, and added this as our own store-made items. But they've always had baked goods. They always had baguettes, which we also made. And really, I have to credit the former owners with the business model, which has just worked out so well and kept us in business. This is our 50th year.
Wow, 50th year, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So I understand a couple of years ago you purchased the Sky Bar candy name, and you've recently opened up a shop right next door. Tell us a little bit about that.
So the Sky Bar candy was up for auction in the Necco bankruptcy, and we were very lucky to bid on it and win it. A bit stunned at the time, but now we couldn't be more happy. Then, by serendipity, the next door store became available, that space, and so we put the Sky Bar candy manufacturing right next door to Duck Soup. There's big viewing windows, you can see the Sky Bars being made, and in the front of it is an old-time, well, it's not really an old-time candy store, it's a mix of nostalgia candy, and then we put in things like kids' kits, because at the time that Sky Bar was invented, it was a real breakthrough. So we didn't want it just to be backward-looking, we wanted it to be forward-looking, and our plan was to make it a space that we could open up for STEAM classes and clubs and so on. We only opened last December. We closed the store in early March, obviously, and then it recently reopened. So it hasn't got off the ground yet, but that's our future vision for it.
I see. And because you're not busy enough, you recently announced that you are in partnership with the Wayside Inn in managing their store. How will that be different?
Well, that one is going to be more gifty. It's definitely going to be feature things from New England, from Massachusetts, and from Sudbury. And we want it to be the kind of place that people would come into to shop, not just when they're going for a meal at the Wayside Inn, but where they would find something that would give them a souvenir or a gift that would come from Massachusetts. So there's an overlap for sure, but it's not a complete overlap. It's not going to have kitchenwares, I don't think. And yeah, so that we're very excited and honored that we'll be part of that.
That's exciting. And one thing I know, because you've been so generous with our business, but you really get involved in the community. And I understand you have a lot of high school kids that work here, and you do other things for the community. That's really a nice way to be involved too.
Yes. So we do, again, this is not something that I invented. I really can take credit for very little here, just keeping going the spirit of duck soup that always was. So high school kids were always employed here. The store goes back to 1971. I have those kids coming in from all over the country. And they'll say, I'm back visiting in Sudbury. I worked in duck soup. And they have these huge, wonderful memories. And we've kept that going. And right now we have a lot of high school kids. I think we're up to 16.
Wow.
So they only work 3 to 6 hours a week, which is great for them and great for us. We have so many that if one can't make it, another one can. And we recently brought that number up to 16, so we'll have enough to also send them to the Wayside Inn. So the Wayside Inn will get our older, more experienced ones, and we're bringing on some new ones for duck soup.
That's fantastic. Louise, thank you so much for your time today. I'm a fan of your shop, as you know, I'm always here, and I know many other people are. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Our pleasure.